Hey everyone, welcome back to Carrots and Olives. My name is Brittany, and today I got my Sterling ink package. I mentioned in my Hobonichi video that I still have other planners that I plan to use during the year 2026. So this so far is actually my last order. Let's just say I don't plan on ordering any more planners. However, things may change, but for now, the goal is to stick with what I have at this point. So let's get into the package. I have my handy dandy tool. If anyone knows what that phrase is from, put it in the chat, in the comments. So far with the orders I have received from Sterling Ink, never been, mishandled or always been in really good condition. Nice bubble wrap. And I love this box because I like to reuse boxes to ship other items, and I'm happy it's a blank box, like a clean white box. All right, so she always sends a letter. Her packaging is always black. This is her card and her lovely artwork. Very nice watercolor. And then a freebie sticker, little sticker sheet. Oh, nice. Oh, ways you can use your planner. So just another card of her artwork. I really love this. This just reminds me of what I loved about watercolor and painting, and definitely something I would paint myself. She has a QR code. She has some information here, I guess, that you could find on her QR code. 30-day planning challenge, monthly journal prompts, vision board guide, how to plan guide. I kind of like the monthly journal prompts. That seems like a fun activity to do since I do like to journal. I have 2 notebooks. When I was on her site, I wasn't one of the first people who arrived on the site within the first 10 minutes. I was actually probably an hour or 2 late. No, not even that long. I was probably 30 minutes late into getting on. I knew I felt like I had time to just take my time, but I realized as I was checking out, there were just things that were just going really fast. And so I settled on 2 notebooks because 1, I know I need one for work, which is going to be for my B5. And then 2, I wanted to try out the new paper, which is the Cosmo Air Light. I was struggling between whether or not I should get the A5 or the B6 in the Cosmo Air Light paper. However, I realized since I won't be using it to plan, it would just be just to have to use the paper. I just decided to go with the cheaper option since I don't plan to use it as a planner. But if I end up changing my mind, I do have a lot of B6 covers, and B6 used to be a size I enjoyed at one point in time. Oh, this is fun. Which way does it go? Oh, like this. It's like a mishmash of collaging. Nice. 2026. So this is the B6 core, and it came, I think, only in the black, which is her new color, I think. This black. I always get the gold edging because there's no additional charge whether you get gold or or the white edging, and it doesn't flake off. It just reminds me of like using a Bible, really, a very precious book. And so I love the look of when it's nice and clean. And I also like it when it's been used up a little bit. So I'll show you one of my planners I'm using this year that has been used and how the pages look. This one is the Vertical Compact Full Year 2026. Obviously, they come in this really nice, like, packages. I just don't and see myself really using this, but I like the idea. I think I would kind of prefer like the the jacket where you can actually sit it on your bookshelf and it holds its shape and you just pop your book in there. But I think that in the past she's had issues with that, or maybe it was just a decision she made not to do anymore. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Oh yes, I got this in a different color. So I decided to go with green. I can get this out. Ay. So if you put them side by side, you might be able to see the color difference. Maybe a little bit. Okay, so Core Planner, which is one of her new planners this year, or new layouts, and then the regular Common Planner. This is the B6. This is also, it's in the green color. It's really pretty. It's actually very smooth, whereas the Onyx has like pebbly texture, very tiny pebbly texture. So the texture feel is different. The green is very smooth, like no texture on it, whereas the black is very textured. I decided to go with the B6 Compact because of a couple of reasons, and I'm almost, I hope it's going to work out. I'm almost regretting it a little bit. Like, did I make the right choice? This current year, I have the B6 Full. Let me get that for you. So here is the B6 Full, or B5, sorry, B5 Vertical Full Year Common Planner. It is not the compact version. You can see the spine. I fold it back on itself. So it's been very loved and used. This is what it looks like. With the edges being used and the gold being used over time, it's still very gorgeous. I fold it back on itself often. So if I am using a blank page, or let's see, let me find one of my pages. Something like this. I fold it back, I clip it, and then I write what I need to write for the day. Flip it over. Next day, it's just ready for me to write, turn to the next page, etc., etc. So that's how I've been treating this. What I've noticed lately is that I just default to a blank page so far, and I want to go back to using my vertical pages, but I've been enjoying the empty pages. So anyway, the vertical pages did work for me to a point. I would write down like my to-do lists or things that pop up. I don't use this anymore for like planning out the day, like what's to come, how many meetings or anything, because my meetings are always fluctuating. So it would be a ridiculous amount of time to spend on trying to look at that, because I have to do the work that's in the meetings and not just keep track of the meetings. So anyway, I have my Outlook to do that for me, but this is how it's been looking for a book that's been used every single day, just about, except on weekends. Thank goodness. And so I decided, well, if I really want to try to make myself use the weekly pages and then use the daily pages or the blank pages in the back only when it's truly necessary, then why not try the compact, right? Because it is not as expensive. And so this is the difference between the two. Also, I do think that the compact will be, a lot lighter and easier to handle as I'm working, because my workspace, I have my computer, I have multiple monitors, and writing, like the writing space I have for this book has been limited. And then it's like kind of chunky, and it's always like lifting and turning and trying to find things. So I figured maybe this will force me not just to use the pages that are there for a reason, for instance, the weeklies, but also force me to be a little bit more organized and conscious of what pages I'm using. So if I truly need to come back here to write things down, or just keep it in here and be very strategic about what I'm putting in here, I think this would work for me. Now, if it doesn't, I do have other notebooks. However, B5 is like so spacious. This is a B6 and the little calendar. It's so spacious, my hand, So it's just, I don't know. Like my hand takes up maybe 6 squares or 8 squares, whereas my hand in the B6 takes up the whole page, right? Of like 20 squares. So I really love this, especially for like big planning. I'm really excited to use this for next year. And I'm really happy that I went with the bigger size for work, because it's just like, it doesn't make me feel so, I want to say tight, but it doesn't make me feel so constrained. Like I can do all the things in here, and this is just something that's been working, but I want to see if I can go a little bit slimmer, just to, save some money and really focus on what I really should be putting in here. So that is that. Then I have the B6. This is the planner I've wanted to use. Honestly, for if it wasn't the B5 size, I would have gotten this in B5. And probably like the full year, the full 300 something extra pages, because I really wanted to try out the paper. So this is very similar to, let's see, just checking all the pages. Very similar to like a Hobonichi. I've also had this B6 compact full year back in 2024. And I actually surprisingly didn't really use it in the way I wish I would have, because I was using the Hobonichi. Anyway, I still keep this because it has a lot of like my doctor phone numbers and referral numbers and things like that in the back pages, which is why I always grab this. And I need to put it in my Hobonichi, but the Hobonichi doesn't have a lot of blank pages to put something like that, like the Sterling ink layout does. Plus, I do share my Hobonichi online. So anyway, I think, I don't know, I might put that in here or somewhere else. But what I really wanted to do was test the paper. So let's do some paper tests. It is a lot thicker. You can definitely feel the thickness there. Whereas the 52 GSM paper is a lot thinner. I know what she does is put like a page underneath, an image behind it, so you can see the thickness. Very light and thin. This one you probably won't be able to tell. Not very well that there's something behind the page. Anyhow, I thought I could use this as a journal, and I could use this honestly at any time. I think I've seen some people journal in theirs. I even tried to journal like this way by changing the layout, the rotation of the notebook. So where should I do my paper, my pen test? Don't want to do it at the beginning. I think I will just do it at the very end. Whoops. Let's do it like this. And let's also test the new paper, or the updated Hobonichi paper, I suppose. All right, so what do I have? I have my King of Pen fountain pen. This is actually in permanent black. Wow. So this does remind me of, like, the feel of it does remind me of just zoom in for you. Does remind me of Cosmo Airlight. What is that? What did I just write? This is what is the size? I think this is, yeah, it's a medium. Oops. It kind of drags a bit, like the Cosmo Airlight paper, which when I first heard of this paper and tested it out, I was not a fan of it. I just didn't like it. Now coming back to it like multiple years later, I'm like, I love this paper. I think it's just because it's just different. It's different, but you could still get the paper in the same color as To My River, and it's just a different feel. And at first, I was hardcore. I only like To My River paper. I don't like anything else. Now I'm like, hey, there is nothing crazy wrong with this paper. I love how things feel. Like, I love that. I know some people that irritates some people, but for me, I am not irritated by that. So it just took me a couple of years, I guess you could say. So I'm just going to be testing a couple of things. This one is just a highlighter, or what I use as a highlighter. Oddly enough, this paper with the ink level, this one is reacting more like original Hobonichi paper, where like your ink kind of just spreads across the page. It doesn't soak in. Whereas this one, everything seems very dry. This is the mild liner mix, single-ended, and it mixes the two colors together. Let's try a Muji pen. For the first time, I did go to Muji in New York. .5. And this is like a dark blue, like a blue-black color. Whoa, that's insane. On Cosmo Air Light, it's like that much wetness. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's performing like this. It's very interesting. This is 0.3. Not much. It like is drying really fast, or you know, I guess the ink is kind of being absorbed through the paper. And we'll flip it over after I've done a couple more different pens. That one dried super quick. Let's try my Bennu Pixie. Wow. I think this was a fine. Is it a fine? This one's going to be very wet. Yeah, you just tell. But it feels really good writing on it. It does feel very similar to writing on the original Cosmo. Now, Cosmo Airlight also widens the thickness of your pen. So, yeah, okay. It's like they kind of look like different pens. Like this medium looks like a broad. This 0.5 probably looks like a 0.7. 0.3 probably looks like a 0.4. Bennu Pixie, the fine probably looks like a medium there. That is typical for at least the original paper. Let's see, I thought I had a brush pen. Do I want to do this one? Let's do this brush pen. This is the Tombow. Is this the hard or the soft? Soft. So, let's see. Okay. Yeah, it dries really fast on the Tomoe River paper. I also have the Sarasa Dry pen, which is a very thick ink pen. And this one's the 0.7. Yeah, that does give you, it's a lot of ink on there. Let's try this one. Wow. It's a lot of ink. So I'm loving the properties of this Cosmo Air. I wish more companies were using it, actually. Let's see. I know I have, what other pens should we use? Oh, this one. This ink in this pen has been bleeding through on my current Tomoe paper because it's so thick. I don't know what the ink is. It's like a burgundy, I want to say, I can't remember, but this is the Twisby. I forgot. Twisby is extra fine. Does that look like an extra fine to you? No. Wow, look at all that ink. Okay, let's try it again. Does the same, just not as much. It's like more controlled. And let's see. It's another brush pen. This one is the Kokoro, which I talked about in my last video. And I love this pen because it, what am I trying to write? I was going to write Tombow again on accident. It should be in a C. Kokoro. Yeah, that's super juicy. I don't remember this brush pen and this pen, letter pen, being this like soft, able to do so many thick and thin lines like that. Didn't know it was possible. Here is a Flotoon Pentel in the 08. It's a very smooth pen. It's almost hard to control. And it normally does have like a lot of ink coming out of it. Yeah. Maybe I should write what each one is. I think this is the, we'll do it with this. The Pull-em-on. I used to love this pen back in the day. It's like a felt pen. So this is the Cosmo Air Light. And this one is Tomoe River New Sanzen. Is that what they're calling it? I'm not sure. Let's see if I can put them side by side. Okay, there we are. The inks are lovely. Let me get out of the way of my window. I thought it would make it look a little bit brighter, but that's okay. So let me zoom in just a little. So what do I think? I love this Cosmo Airlight paper. It is a little bit thicker, but not like super thick. It's like regular paper size, like regular printer paper. Tomoe River. Oh, let's do one more check. Let's check the back. Okay, so I had a feeling, I was nervous about this TWSBI because you could see it's an extra fine. Look at that fatness. Look at that chubbiness of my lines there. And it didn't bleed. I mean, there's like maybe a couple dots if I want to be that, you know, picky. But overall, it does well. Let's check Tomoe River. That's what most of us care about. How is this performing? Same thing. Honestly, that's what it looks like. Definitely bleed through is not really there unless I want to be picky about this. But it didn't really bleed through. It's just a little bit more prominent than the others. So there is no, like, what do you call it? Fizzing. It's not fizzing. There's another word for it. Where the ink kind of just spreads when you're writing. Cosmo Airlight does that, but it controls it. So it makes the line of your pen thicker on purpose, right? But it doesn't make it fuzzy where it's not a clean line. The old TWSBI, the old paper was doing that. The old Tomoe River paper. I don't know if I have an example in this notebook, but I do have an example in my current Hobonichi. So, current Hobonichi, I have a page where things just did not go right. Here's an example of the ink bleeding through like terribly for this current year. And this was the ink, so I did not use it more than that. And then I think I showed this page before. This one. You can see how it's just like, looks like it was intentional, but it wasn't. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, or at least felt like it helped you in some way. I am really hopeful for the paper. Again, you know, I did do pen tests. They did come out good. However, pages can change within the notebook as well. At least that's what I've discovered on my current Hobonichi. So that's another thing to kind of be, you know, just a little wary about if it bothers you, if you're using fountain pens in your journals or these planners. And you can see I just folded it back on itself. These planners are great for that. There's like hardly an indentation, but even when there is, it doesn't affect the spine. Even with this one, I folded it back. It still lays pretty flat, even though now this page here is kind of a little bumpy because I used it. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. If you have additional questions, want to see something else that could probably give me an idea for another video, please let me know, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.